On 17 laps ahead of them, the 2.17 mile circuit here at Cadwell Park. A total race distance of 36.9 miles, and away they go. And the customary start from Chris Walker. It's the whole shot as they go into Coppice. Chris Walker leads. Number 4, Neil Hodgson, tucked in behind. A good start by the front row man, James Hayden. Both of the Team Revy Racing Ducatis. Front row and good start. Reynolds is in 4th, but it's Walker leading. Hayden 3rd, Reynolds 4th. The field stringing their way now along Park Straight up towards the right-hander of Park. And this is a very, very tight bend, and it doubles up as they go along a little short straight here, then squirt it again into Chris Curve. This taken in 3rd gear, heading off now as they exit this down toward the gooseneck. But a good start in brilliant sunshine here in front of a full house in terms of spectator value at Cadwell. Walker leads, the rear end sliding. Roger, he's got to go pretty steadily in these early stages, otherwise cold tyres and all that, yeah?
Well, this is the approach now to the bottom of the mountain. Chris got the back end a little bit loose from Mansfield. This is into the bottom of the mountain. You'll see now the front wheel, look at the bike leap off the track there. Fabulous pictures. We're getting into Hall Bends. 2nd gear, 70 miles an hour, 75 now, 80. Back down the gearbox to 1st gear for the hairpin. This is out of the hairpin, then to 2nd gear. Look at the acceleration of the Suzuki out of their barn corner. This is the reconfigured barn corner. We said it had added a short distance to the track, but it certainly made it safer as they come through the start and finish to complete the first lap.
Well, it was noticeable out of barn corner that the race leader, number 2, Chris Walker, accelerated really, really well. He got the drive on the Suzuki out of barn and pulled away from the Ducati of Neil Hodgson coming onto the straight. If that's going to be a characteristic lap by lap, then of course it will be vital as they come out of barn for the final time on the sprint down to the flag. But Reynolds in your picture, the 4th place man, number 3, John Reynolds, making a move for 3rd. He came here 12 points adrift of the championship leader Neil Hodgson, and that's his teammate James Hayden ahead of him, and Reynolds was leading Hayden by 41 points coming here. So obviously Reynolds, number 3, has got to get past the number 5 Ducati, who took an enormous wiggle, James Hayden, as I said the words. So Reynolds knows what he's got to do. It's very warm here, very sticky on track. We're on board with Chris Walker looking back at the championship leader.
Hodgson there very fast into the bottom of the mountain. Watch the bike go airborne at the top, and it did. Past the cafe there on the right-hand side into Hall Bends. Now this is the difficult part of the track, I would say. A single line through here, very difficult to overtake before going down to 1st gear for the hairpin, then up to 2nd, and then into barn corner. 80 miles an hour on the exit of here, and the riders now come through onto the start and finish to get the messages from the pit boards. Do you see there? Before going up to 6th gear, back to 4th gear for Coppice. This is very fast corner indeed, 120 miles an hour. Then right into Charlie's. You can't see the second part of Charlie's, which we can see now from the entry point, and that poses a difficulty for these Superbike riders as Hodgson gets extremely well tucked down under the bubble there. Maximum slipstream effect up the straight to Park Corner.
Well, these 4 are getting away, but in 5th place and hanging on very well in 5th place is former champion number 7 Neil Mackenzie, and he's got the opportunity here at Cadwell to improve his championship standings because the man in front of him in the championship, Steve Hislop, is not competing, still carrying that injury from his World Superbike crash at Brands Hatch. So we have 2 GSE Ducatis in the top 5, 2 Team Revy Racing Ducatis in the top 5, and out in front the lone Suzuki of Chris Walker. He won here last year, so he knows his way around Cadwell extremely well. He was testing here just a week ago and equalled his personal best, so we expect no less than this from Chris Walker. Looking back again, you can see the weather is good, and look how close Neil Hodgson is, right on the back wheel of Chris Walker's Suzuki, tucking in, making the shortest route possible around here at the foot of the mountain. Neil Hodgson takes another look as they head now right up the mountain. Just watch Neil Hodgson, completely airborne, gets it lined up, and it's vital they get it right, Roger, into Hall Bends.
Well, the riders love Cadwell Park. It's really exciting. No better place is there to ride a motorcycle around a racing circuit than this one. It really is exciting. The track is quite narrow, you'll notice, and that's peculiar to Cadwell Park. And as a consequence, it's very difficult for them to run car races here, and that's Plater, so Plater's had to pull in with a problem. Let's see if we can see what that is. This is on board with Plater. The engine revs have gone up there, so I identify that as a drive chain actually coming off. Chris Walker had the same problem on that bike last year. When the bike jumps up the mountain, the suspension compresses as it lands and the chain comes off. So that looked like it was that. It's certainly a drive problem or a transmission problem. Oh my goodness me, James Hayden, you must be careful, because squeezing the power on that Ducati like that, and look at Reynolds siding across the front. Well, Barry, those are teammates, let me tell you, and do teammates behave like that?
Well, apparently they do, because we've just seen it with our own eyes. And Reynolds obviously desperate to get past James Hayden, who he might have thought was looking a little bit out of shape. And from our seats, it looked as though James Hayden was a bit out of shape. But let's be fair to the youngster. James Hayden is still nursing that neck injury, which is causing his right arm to lose grip and gives him a great deal of pain. He's got a trapped nerve somewhere in the neck disc area, which makes it difficult for him to sustain the pace over a long period during a race. And that could well be the fact that he was unable to hang on to the bike, but certainly Reynolds needed to scuttle past, and scuttle past he did. He's now in third. Walker at Charlie's, driving, and a big move, the rear end of the Suzuki let go. That's allowed Neil Hodgson to close, and now he smells the lead, takes it on the left-hand side up towards Park, but Walker's a demon on the brakes. Is he going to hold Hodgson off? No, he isn't. Neil Hodgson, championship leader, is now race leader of round 17, and Chris Walker will be kicking himself for that. He knows he's made a mistake. Also, John Reynolds, number 3, has closed, and the order they're now in the championship. Hayden's down. Hayden is down as well. Now, that's Park. That's on the exit of Park. Hayden is down as well. What about that, Roger?
Well, it's very difficult to say what happened. James has obviously fallen down, trying to keep with this front bunch, and will be disappointed. But his teammates pressing now in third, because John Reynolds on bike number 3 is pushing Walker and Hodgson. So Hodgson comes round Barn Corner to complete yet another lap. This is important to get out of that corner quickly, because you go down this bottom straight, back 2 gears from 6th gear, 160 miles an hour at that point of entering Coppice Corner. Then in 4th gear, the entry point to Charlie's, back 1 gear to take the exit of Charlie's, but Reynolds very much in touch.
You're looking at first, second, third in the race, and first, second, third in the championship. We have only had 4 winners in the 2000 series, and these 3 boys have had the lion's share of them. And let me tell you, in the 16 races that have gone so far, obviously there have been 48 podium places. Between them, these 3 riders have taken 33 of those podium places. That's an astonishing fact and an astonishing display of consistency, not least of all by this man, Neil Hodgson, who is really in his best season ever, number 4, Neil Hodgson. Chris Walker, the man who never ever gives up, is hanging on grimly in second place, 3 times runner-up in this championship. Surely he's not going to carry the number 2 plate into the year 2001. That must be Chris Walker's worst nightmare, to finish runner-up yet again. If there's anything he can do about it, he will certainly do something about it. John Reynolds in a 16-point position at the moment, came here with a 12-point deficit, needs to improve on that 3rd place, and Roger, he's closing.
Well, he's closing, but there's very little time left, because this is through now to start the last lap, and Chris Walker will know that, Neil Hodgson will know that, and John Reynolds will. And John Reynolds is likely to settle for that 3rd place, knowing that Walker and Hodgson are capable of getting into a last lap fracas, as we've seen on several occasions this year so far. But this time Hodgson looks like he's probably got clear of Chris Walker, and Chris probably hasn't got an answer at this stage for him.
No, the gap now 5 or 6 machine lengths at Park, and then squirting along the back to Chris Curve. Chris Curve taken in 3rd, heading down towards the gooseneck, which is a very, very steep off-camber downhill drop. They go left into the gooseneck, flick out through the bottom, and then away down the hill towards Mansfield, 2nd gear corner. This is where Chris Walker is very quick, and this is where he closes. And look over the shoulder from Neil Hodgson. Tail enders ahead of them, and that looks like Dave Redgate, number 35. Yes, it is. It's Dave Redgate. Is he going to get in the way of Neil Hodgson? Over the mountain goes Hodgson. He's clear of Redgate. Walker now has to get past the tail ender. Oh, no, he is stuck behind Dave Redgate, number 35. That That's given Neil Hodgson the advantage. A shake of the head from Suzuka's Chris Walker. A wistful shake of the head. He knew he had an opportunity there, and I won't say he blew it, but that opportunity was taken from him as Neil Hodgson gets the checkered flag, jubilant in victory, left hand in the air, and the air horns here at Cadwell sound. A fantastically supportive crowd, and he has to be delighted with that one. I'm very sorry, mate, says Dave Redgate. Don't worry, said Chris, we've got one more race to go. Well, confirmation with a stunning wheelie and a stunning win by Neil Hodgson. Walker, Reynolds third, Mackenzie fourth place. That will do his championship standings the world of good. It's a personal best for John Crawford in fifth and a great return by Shane Byrne in seventh. John Racing Ducatis, front row and good start. Reynolds is in fourth, but it's Walker leading. Hayden third, Reynolds fourth. The field stringing their way now along Park Straight up towards the right-hander of Park. And this is a very, very tight bend, and it doubles up as they go along a little short straight here, then squirt it again into Chris Curve. This taken in third.
Bit loose from Mansfield. This is into the bottom of the mountain. You'll see now the front wheel. Look at the bike leap off the track there. Fabulous pictures we're getting into Hall Bends. Second gear, 70 miles an hour, 75 now, 80. Back down the gearbox to first gear for the hairpin. This is out of the hairpin, then to second gear. Look at the acceleration of the Suzuki.
Gear heading off now as they exit this down toward the gooseneck. But a good start in brilliant sunshine here in front of a full house in terms of spectator value at Cadwell. Walker leads, the rear end sliding. Roger, he's got to go pretty steadily in these early stages, otherwise cold tyres and all that, yeah?
Well, this is the approach now to the bottom of the mountain. Chris got the back end a little out of their barn corner. This is the reconfigured barn corner. We said it had added a short distance to the track, but it's certainly made it safer as they come through the start and finish to complete the first lap.
Well, it was noticeable out of barn corner that the race leader, number 2, Chris Walker, accelerated really, really well. He got the drive on the Suzuki out of barn and pulled away from the Ducati of Neil Hodgson. 17 laps ahead of them. The 2.17 mile circuit here at Cadwell Park. A total race distance of 36.9 miles, and away they go. And the customary start from Chris Walker. It's the whole shot as they go into Coppice. Chris Walker leads. Number 4, Neil Hodgson tucked in behind. A good start by the front row man, James Hayden. Both of the Team Revy